Welcome to Jehovah News, your trusted source for Christian faith updates. Brought to you by Jehovah's House of Saints. Stay tuned for the latest news and insights to inspire and uplift your spiritual journey. Stay connected with us as we bring you all the breaking Christian news, presented by the dedicated team at Jehovah's House of Saints. Thank you for tuning in to Jehovah News.
Ever wonder how an ordinary person can become an extraordinary leader? Well, let's dive into the world of the Bible, a book filled with tales of unlikely heroes who rose from humble beginnings to become influential figures. Consider David, a shepherd boy, seemingly insignificant in his family, yet anointed by the prophet Samuel to be the future king of Israel. His story is a testament to the fact that our beginnings do not define our endings. David, who spent his days tending sheep, would later slay the giant Goliath and ascend to the throne as one of Israel's most revered kings. And then there's Moses, a man of self-confessed weak speech, who felt utterly inadequate to lead. Yet when God called him to guide the Israelites out of Egyptian bondage, Moses, albeit with hesitation, accepted the task. He might have doubted his abilities, but God did not. As a result, Moses, with his brother Aaron by his side, led the Israelites through the wilderness and received the 10 Commandments directly from God. These extraordinary tales of ordinary individuals remind us that greatness often arises from unexpected quarters. The Bible is brimming with stories of people who, despite their ordinary lives, were chosen by God to accomplish extraordinary feats. So the next time you come across someone who seems insignificant, remember, they could be a potential trailblazer, a future leader. In the grand narrative of biblical history, many figures have emerged from humble origins to become esteemed leaders. Their stories not only inspire us but also underscore that greatness can often be discovered in the most unassuming of places. As you can see, greatness can indeed come from the most unexpected places. From a simple coat of many colors to the second most powerful man in Egypt, let's delve into the story of Joseph. Ordinary in birth, Joseph was nonetheless extraordinary in spirit. As the favorite son of his father Jacob, he was gifted a coat of many colors, a symbol of favor that ignited jealousy in his brothers. This jealousy would lead them to commit an unthinkable act, selling their own brother into slavery. Yet in the midst of this adversity, Joseph's faith and resilience never wavered. Instead of succumbing to despair, he held firm in his trust in God's plan. His perseverance paid off when he was purchased by Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard, and quickly rose to become the overseer of Potiphar's household. But his journey was far from over. Wrongly accused and thrown into prison, Joseph's faith was tested once again. Despite these trials, he used his God-given ability to interpret dreams to gain favor with the Pharaoh. Recognizing Joseph's wisdom, Pharaoh appointed him as the vizier, the second most powerful man in Egypt. In this position, Joseph oversaw the storage and distribution of grain during 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. His foresight and strategic planning saved not only Egypt, but also his own family from starvation. Joseph's story is one of extraordinary resilience and unshakable faith. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, he could have easily given up. But he chose to trust in God's plan, and in doing so rose to a position of immense authority and influence. In the face of adversity, Joseph remained steadfast, using his trials as stepping stones to his destiny. His story serves as a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, we can find strength in our faith and trust in God's ultimate plan. Joseph's journey from adversity to authority is a testament to resilience and faith in God's ultimate plan. Now, let's turn our attention to an orphaned girl who became the Queen of Persia. Her name was Esther, a name that would echo through the ages as a symbol of courage and faith. Esther was a Jewish girl living in exile in Persia, raised by her cousin Mordecai after her parents' demise. Life took a dramatic turn when King Ahasuerus, in a whim, decided to replace his queen. Esther, along with many other young women, was taken to the king's palace. She was chosen for her beauty, but it was her character that truly set her apart. Esther found favor in the king's eyes and was crowned queen, but her story doesn't stop there. A plot to annihilate the Jewish people was brewing in the palace, orchestrated by the king's trusted advisor, Haman. When Mordecai learned of this, he turned to Esther, pleading with her to use her influence to save their people. Imagine the fear that must have gripped Esther's heart. Approaching the king uninvited could mean death, even for the queen. Yet Esther decided to risk it all. She fasted and prayed, asking her people to do the same. Then, with courage in her heart and faith in her God, she approached the king. Esther's wisdom and bravery eventually led to the downfall of Haman and the salvation of her people. From an orphan girl to the Queen of Persia, Esther's journey was marked by her unwavering faith and her willingness to risk everything for the sake of her people. Esther's story highlights the power of courage and the importance of using one's influence for the greater good. She is remembered not just for her beauty or her title, but for her courageous heart and the lives she saved. Like Esther, may we also use whatever influence we have to make a difference in the world around us. In the Bible, we find more examples of unlikely leaders who made a significant impact. Consider Gideon, a man of humble origins from the weakest clan in Manasseh, who was called by God to be a judge over Israel. Gideon questioned his own worthiness, yet he rose to the challenge, leading an army of just 300 men to victory over the Midianites. His story is a testament to the power of faith and the strength that can be found in our perceived weaknesses. Deborah, another judge of Israel, was a woman in a time when leadership roles were predominantly occupied by men. Despite societal norms, Deborah led the Israelites to victory over the Canaanites, proving that leadership is not confined by gender or societal expectations. Then there's Rahab, a Canaanite prostitute who played a crucial role in the Israelites' conquest of Jericho. Despite her disreputable occupation, Rahab showed great faith in God and helped the Israelite spies, earning her a place in the lineage of Jesus Christ. Her story teaches us that no one is beyond redemption and that everyone has a role to play in God's plan. These unassuming heroes were ordinary individuals, chosen by God to do extraordinary things. They were not the strongest, the wisest, or the most influential by worldly standards, yet they made significant contributions to God's divine plan. Their stories teach us that greatness doesn't always come dressed in royal robes or wielding a scepter. Sometimes it comes in the form of a shepherd boy, a stuttering man, a coat of many colors, an orphaned girl, a man from a weak clan, a woman judge, or even a prostitute. Remember, God often chooses the weak and the ordinary to confound the strong and the wise. So don't underestimate your potential for greatness, regardless of your current circumstances. As these biblical leaders demonstrate, with faith and obedience to God's calling, anyone can rise from obscurity to make a significant impact. What can we learn from these biblical leaders? From the shepherd boy David to the stuttering Moses, the Bible showcases that God often chooses the most unexpected individuals to execute his divine plan. These were ordinary people with ordinary lives, yet God saw something extraordinary in them. Their stories serve as a testament that our potential is not dictated by our flaws, our circumstances, or our societal status, but rather by our willingness to heed God's calling. Consider the story of Joseph, a favored son turned slave, who rose to be a powerful figure in Egypt. His tale reminds us of the power of resilience and faith in God's ultimate plan. Even in the face of adversity, it shows us that we all have the potential to rise above our circumstances and fulfill our destiny. Then we have Esther, the orphaned Jewish girl who became Queen of Persia. Despite her humble beginnings and initial insignificance, Esther used her influence to save her people. Her story underscores the importance of courage and the power of using our influence for the greater good. And let's not forget the likes of Gideon, Deborah, and Rahab. Each of them, in their own way, played pivotal roles in the unfolding of God's divine plan. Their stories reinforce the notion that God often chooses the weak and the ordinary to confound the strong and the wise. As we reflect upon these biblical leaders, we are reminded that with faith, perseverance, and a willingness to heed God's calling, we too can rise from obscurity to fulfill our purpose in God's grand design. These lessons from the Bible are not just historical anecdotes, but timeless principles that hold true even today. So what can we learn from these biblical leaders? We learn that greatness can come from the most unexpected places, that adversity can lead to authority, and that our potential is not defined by our circumstances, but by our faith and our response to God's calling. With faith, perseverance, and a willingness to heed God's calling, we too can rise from obscurity to fulfill our purpose in God's grand design. We hope you enjoyed this journey through the lives of these biblical leaders. Their humble beginnings and triumphant stories are a testament to God's grand design, reminding us that greatness can emerge from the most unanticipated places. As we glean inspiration from their narratives, let's keep this enlightening content alive. Producing these videos requires both time and financial resources. We kindly ask for your support by making a $1 donation towards our cause through jehovahsaint.com.